Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Alchemy Pay. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now let's jump straight into the TA. Taking a look at the daily chart, if we zoom out, you can see that we do have an ascending support trend line that we've been adhering to since July 2021. This was set up on the weekly chart. That's why you do have a bit of an action going below it, but for the most part, it stays above the trend line. On the weekly chart, it looks very clean, but we are on the daily right now, and there is a very good chance that we might see another bounce off of this support trend line. So if for whatever reason we have a flash crash, we have another capitulation in the markets, and you see ACH sitting all the way down here, just know that that's a very good entry point, because historically every single time we had a bounce off of that trend line, we actually saw a pretty strong move to the upside. For example, you go back to 2021, this was a massive parabolic move to the upside. So from this low at 0.0013, we went all the way up to 20 cents, almost a 14,500% move to the upside in less than a month, which is crazy, in just a few weeks. And the second bounce that we had here from December 2022 into March 2023, that was a 7x. And since that, we've already dropped 65%. So I started building my position already. My patrons are advised on all of my buy alerts, obviously. So feel free to check out the link down below in the description. But for now, if we start zooming in even more, you can see that we do have a local high that we printed here in February 2023. And we broke above that high in February as well. And now we've actually come back down and retested that trend line as support. So technically we're doing everything we need to be doing. This was a great entry point at 0.01918 cents. And we've bounced into this resistance block that was previously our support. Back in February, we had a nice support retest. In March, we had another support retest. In May, we did have a bit of a fake out below that, but for the most part, we stayed above it and we bounced up, and then we lost it in June, and now we're coming up and we are retesting this as resistance, which is something that you do with a previous support level. You lose it, you come back up, back test as resistance, and then you drop even lower. Now, if we set up a Fibonacci retracement from this local high that we printed in June to the local low that we printed all the way back in May, you can see that we reached our 1.618 target at 0.017796 cents. And from that point, you already saw a 27% move to the upside. Actually, I think approximately a 30% even, yeah, 31% to the upside. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be coming back down to this level, doesn't mean that we're going to be doesn't mean that we're not going to be pumping necessarily afterwards. But this move to the downside has been perfect, a perfect retracement per this Fibonacci retracement. And there's a good chance we could run into the golden ratio here at 0.024 cents. We could also run into the 55 EMA. So there's a lot of resistance in this area. So we might run into that and then we get sent back down. That is a very possible outcome, because we could be looking at a dead cat bounce, which is when you print a high, you come back down, print a low, and then you start running into the golden ratio on your way back up. And that golden ratio is going to reject you. And once you get rejected from the golden ratio, you fail to break through that, there's a very high chance you're going to be coming back down and retesting your current local low. So that is what we're expecting right now. If Bitcoin continues pumping, obviously altcoins will follow, but there's still the narrative around crypto is still not as bullish as it will be once we get into the bull market. So we could still see more potential downside. So be ready for both outcomes at all times, like I always say. But I would just start thinking about, entering into ACH, because when we were sitting up here, if you were buying up here, guys, you definitely want to average in down here at these prices right now. So you do have 0.0177 cents. You do have the second fib level below that at 0.01575 cents, which also co-lines nicely with this low from February 2023. And of course, the ascending support trend line is a very good indicator to take a look at as well. Now, if we jump into the daily chart, you can see that we are looking at a bit of a bullish divergence here. So if I take this arrow here and I drag it from this low to that low, you can clearly see that we are printing a lower low. Now, if I do the same on the RSI, you can clearly see that we have a horizontal support here. So this is a bullish divergence, and we're already seeing the effects of this divergence. This is a very small bullish divergence, to be honest with you, so I don't think we're going to have a massive move to the upside. So this 30% move to the upside could just be the outcome from this divergence. This is what you get after this divergence, a bit of a move to the upside, and that's it. I'm not expecting 100x from here, guys. Although, like I said, all depends on Bitcoin. Depends if we get more Alchemy news specific to the project, because this is one of the cryptos that is a China-based coin, so to speak, a China-based crypto project. So money is going to be flowing into this, in my opinion, especially when you look at all the partners they've got, and I think China is going to be pumping a lot of money into its own projects to boost up the volume, to boost up liquidity, and just to make more money from these companies. Because I can assure you, just because China kind of doesn't like crypto doesn't mean it's not making money off of crypto. Now let's switch over to the weekly chart. And before we continue with the video, I quickly want to mention my Patreon that's linked down below in the description. If you enjoy my content, you want to get more exclusive content, and you want to support me at the same time, definitely feel free to check out the Patreon, because you're going to get a 7-day free access on my Patreon and an instant access to all of my content since October 2021, which is when I started. You'll get access to content like exclusive weekly podcasts, and we're starting to invite guests already. We have 40+ low cap gem posts. We have a bunch of project reviews. We have a bunch of resources that are going to help you save time and make more money with this upcoming bull market. So this is definitely a great exchange of value for the both of us. And once again, there's a 7-day free trial. Feel free to check it out. You can leave anytime, and let's continue with the video. Taking a look at the weekly chart, you can see that we have a Fibonacci retracement set up from our local bottom here that we printed back in December 2022, and our swing high all the way back in August 2021. Now, our 1.618 target is going to be sitting at 58 cents, and we are going to be targeting that only after we break above the previous all-time high. Before that, this is just a number, right? This is just a number on a chart, just hopium. But after we manage to break above the all-time high, that is when we start getting bullish, and that is when we can start targeting these extension levels to the upside. So you have the 1.272, you have the 1.414, and you have the 1.618. You can take a look at my settings for the fib retracement, and you can just pause the video and take a look at how I've got my fib set up. So we have it in reverse, the values, the labels are at the right side, and of course the log scale should be turned on. Now, based off of this Fibonacci retracement, we have a major support level down here, which is the 0.236 fib at 0.0146 cents. That is a level we could be retesting down the line if we continue heading down. You can see that we were very bullish on Alchemy Pay because we had the bullish cross on the weekly. We got very overextended. We ran into the golden ratio, and this is what we call a dead cat bounce. Like I said, you print a high, you print a low, and then you start retracing, you run into the golden ratio, and you get sent back down. This is what we're looking at, or this is what we were looking at that smaller fractal, at that smaller fib on the daily chart. And this is what essentially played out on the weekly here, but on a larger scale. I'm not saying we're going to be coming back down to 0.008 cents, although anything can happen. I do think this massive support level is going to hold us. If we have a massive capitulation, we have Bitcoin dropping 15 to 20% a day, we could have Alchemy Pay drop 50 to 60% as well. Not saying that that's impossible, but Bitcoin would need to get really bearish for that. Altcoins are not going to drop on their own, and they're not going to pump on their own unless there are specific news related to the project. Now, if we take a look at the weekly RSI, we were very overbought here in February 2023. We have retraced quite a bit, so now we can actually start thinking about getting into the project. These are good prices for us to enter. Massive support level here on the weekly to take a look at, index of 41. Take a look at that level. If we end up dropping down there, feel free to average into the markets. And the stochastic on the weekly in the oversold below the index of 20. The last time we were down this low was back in January 2022. So another great indicator telling us that this is a good buying opportunity. The MACD already printed a bearish cross back in May, so you could have waited from May to enter when you saw the bearish cross, kind of like I did, because once you get the bearish cross on the weekly MACD, this is sort of a looking glass indicator. It is a lagging indicator because it happens, the crosses happen after the downtrend has already started, but this is sort of a confirmation indicator because this confirms what has already happened, and after you get the confirmation, you essentially continue in that trend 90% of the time, I would say, if you're talking about the weekly chart. But you can see that we have a lot of volume coming in based on the volume indicator, and this is good. This is showing a lot of strength during a bear market, and I am really bullish on the project moving forward. Let me know if I missed out anything important on the charts. I'm going to be very interested in reading your comments, and I want to thank you all for watching. Take care and goodbye.